Well, good morning, and good morning. Welcome to another fabulous episode of Exit Strategy Radio Show. Hey, I'm your host, Colin J. Millette, broker and owner of Exit Realty Low Country Group in North Charleston, South Carolina. Hey, if this is your first time, we always tell you in for a treat, but y'all need to strap in real tight today, guys. So we have a very, very, very special guest with us on today. So look, for those of you who've been hanging around for us a little bit, y'all know this guy right here. This guy right here is Fred F.A. Johnson, and the F.A. stands for Fixed Assets.
Fixed assets.
He's out here talking about some fixed assets on today. He's our development partner. He is the CEO, of P.A.S.T.O.R.S, Inc., and he's going to be dropping some news on us today in relationship to an upcoming event. F.A., how are you doing today, sir?
We're having a great day today. I appreciate the chance to be with you today.
Well, we appreciate it. So, look, we're going to get to it. You are affordable housing, in my opinion, in Charleston. I strongly believe that you cultivated more of a passion and desire within me to work even deeper in the trenches, so to speak, with it, and open my eyes to a lot. But I want to talk, and I want you to talk today about P.A.S.T.O.R.S, Inc. So let's talk about, what is that organization?
Sure. I appreciate that. I thank you very much again for letting us have a chance to talk about affordable housing and the work that P.A.S.T.O.R.S, Inc. is doing, both in affordable housing and in economic development. Certainly, when we start thinking about the term affordable housing, the question always becomes, who can afford to live there, whether they're talking about home ownership or rental. We use those terms, but we want to make sure that people are not burdened by the housing costs. And so what we do is try to identify subsidies in such a way that we can produce the housing such that folks can afford it. And when we say can afford it, whether they are teachers, firefighters, police, service workers, whoever it is, that based on the income that they're able to try to have a better opportunity to get into a house. So that's one component. The other part of it is that the faith-based community really needs to get engaged and involved in economic development and housing. Not just affordable housing, but market rate housing as well. All too often, you've heard me say it, we depend on passing the plate to pay the bills. But if these churches get out here and get involved with some retail, some assisted living, some market rate rental housing, that they can have other streams of revenue to help support the church. Because again, there no money, no mission. We got to have source of revenue in order to make these things turn. And for the church to get involved, we can't teach economic empowerment. We can't talk about wealth building and legacy wealth and passing wealth on to the next generation when the church is struggling. And so we have to reach out to the individual congregants to make sure that they are in a position to purchase homes, to pass wealth on to their next generation.
That's a word right there. So what I just heard is that we got to do more from the pulpit.
We got to get from behind the pulpit, get out into the neighborhoods and start creating some opportunities, not just for the church to generate wealth, but for the individuals to be able to generate wealth.
That's a word right there. So, well, you have, we just happen to be working on a piece of this, but, you guys have put together, first let's start with, if you don't mind, the breakfast. So, who are you guys targeting? Who should be, that's listening to this morning, who should they be calling to say, hey, we need to go to this?
Certainly. So next Saturday, September 24th at 9 o'clock in the morning, we're having breakfast with pastors. So the P.A.S.T.O.R.S, Inc. organization is inviting clergy to come out who want to learn about economic development. They want to learn about affordable housing. They want to learn about diversifying the church's income base, to come out and learn about what P.A.S.T.O.R.S is doing, learn about what opportunities. So particularly those churches that have assets that are underperforming. Maybe they have excess land. Maybe they have buildings that aren't being used as a part of ministry. Maybe they're part of ministry, but there are other ways of how they could leverage those to provide other streams of revenue. So any clergy who has an interest in understanding how they can be a factor in housing, whether that's market rate housing, affordable housing, economic development, they should come. But the important thing in my mind is it's not just for the clergy to come. They need to bring 2 or 3 of their key leaders, because there has to be more than one person who hears the message and understands what we're trying to accomplish. I mean, we don't preach on Sunday morning to a empty sanctuary. We got to have some folks to go out when they leave to go out and carry the message. So even within the church itself, the pastor's got to surround himself with some key leaders who can understand the message of economic development, to understand the message of affordable housing, So we're asking them to come out. We're going to feed you. We're going to have breakfast. And quite honestly, not the knowledge is the most important thing, but we're going to create some financial incentives for folks to come out too. We'll do some giveaways with some gift cards and that sort of thing, just to make sure that there's some added bonus to the wisdom and information that we're trying to share.
So, one of the things, and, as long as, Pastors as itself, if you don't mind, is a nonprofit. And I forgot, the acronym, but if you don't mind, giving that to our listeners this morning.
Okay. No, certainly. Pastors is a nonprofit, but as I tell all of my nonprofit folks, including the church, being a nonprofit is a tax status. We still need to make sure that revenues exceed expenses. Okay. So the tax status just means we don't have to write the check to the IRS. And it does mean that we are focused on mission. Pastors, as an acronym, stands for Pastors Associated Successfully Together to Obey, Restore, and Serve. So it is part of obedience to be fiscally responsible. And that has to start in the pulpit in order for us to move outside of the pulpit.
That is a word right there. So, tell people, guys, if you're watching this or you visit us, on our, website, to listen to this afterwards, to pick up anything you may have missed, guys, we're going to make sure the information is there for you to register. But FA, how can people register for this upcoming Pastors Breakfast?
Certainly. They can go to the Pastors Inc. website, pastorsinc.org, or they can go to the Pastors Inc. Facebook page, and there are links right there. They can click on the blog page of the website. There's a little email me icon on the website. They can click on that and a form will pop up, and they can put in information and say, put me in. I've had folks call in today, just call and leave a voicemail message saying, I want to register, and, we'll call them back and make sure that they're registered. So by any means necessary, please, you can go to the website at pastorsinc.org. You can go to the Facebook page for Pastors Inc., or you can call and leave a message. Either way. But I think the most efficient is if you go to the website, you can click the direct registration link. But again, 8:30. Well, we'll be setting up at 8:30, but breakfast will be served at 9:00, and we'll start the program at 9:30. And can I step on a few toes this morning?
Go.
All right.
Hold on. Let me get mine back, but go ahead.
We talk, we preach, and we believe from the standpoint of faith. But unfortunately, I find a lot of folks from the show me state, and I got to show them. So one of the things that we're going to show them is we're going to show examples of churches that range from $2,000 a month to $10,000 a month that they're generating based on leases that they have and assets and how they're using those. And that's separate from having to pass the plate. I'm not knocking them. Tithes are important, and I'm not belittling that. I'm just saying that what I'm trying to get us to look at is economic empowerment. That's really what I'm trying to say, is that we're trying to get focused on economic empowerment to supplement what we're doing through ministry. Because again, no money, no mission. So
one of the things, you and I've had, going back, church cornerstone of the community, remember they used to plant the cornerstone, and in turn, seemingly as generations have passed, the church is less involved now. We speak and preach, prosperity, and you can have this and you can have that, but we don't connect the two, meaning, the belief with the action, because, we know that faith without works is dead, and we have to make sure we get the works in by bringing the people to the well to get the information, to take that back to the congregants. That's extremely important. So if you're a pastor, maybe you're, trustee or what have you this morning, listening to this show, look, make a note, call and find out some more information, and let's get you registered. You can reach our office as well about that, but let's make sure we get you registered for this. Now, FA, while you were talking before you got to the place of, hey, we're going to show y'all some examples, but there's some ministries that, as a part of their service to community are doing housing, and in turn, are making a real impact in the community. Am I correct?
That's correct. And they're making an impact to the community. For example, we have one church decided to take on veterans housing. So they're serving veterans. But what they've also found is, guess what? They also end up with visitors coming on Sunday because they understand that the church owns the property and is right next door. And so they come to check it out and see what is happening there. So it is both a way of growing ministry, but it is also a way of serving the community as well. So, you've got some congregations are choosing veterans housing. We have some others that are doing through education with a lease to Montessori schools to provide services and outreach into the surrounding areas. And to be honest, those tenants don't necessarily look like the congregations that are owning the facility, but that money's still green
Mm-hmm.
and they're still serving and providing a needed service. We've just announced late last year a new initiative with Roper St. Francis Hospital to house persons with AIDS and have a long-term lease with the hospital to serve their clients. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's a relationship. We've enjoyed 8 years or so working with the VA hospital as well to help house some of their veterans as well. But I'm also equally as proud, and you and your team have played a part in this. We just put 2 single moms in homes out in Hollywood. So
Mm-hmm.
single moms with children that are now homeowners and, paying a mortgage less than $1,000 a month. I mean, less than what people are paying for rent.
Yeah, and that's definitely a win there for sure. But yes,
Absolutely.
sir.
And so part of it, I know we're talking about the first part of this program in the morning. This breakfast event is to try and get more clergy, more churches involved and engaged. We want more churches to be involved with pastors. We want to get the word out. As one of our former pastors used to always say, we one of the best kept secrets in the Charleston area. So we want to get the word out and get some more churches involved. But in the afternoon, we're having a homebuyer workshop at 12, which gets back to, us getting these ladies in the homes as homeowners, is that we're also providing some incentives to make sure that folks come out and learn and understand how to purchase a home, understand basics of budgeting, basics of credit, all of those items, but also understanding the home buying process. And so the morning is for the church leadership. The afternoon is for the membership. It's for the people who need to buy. So we're trying to touch everybody in one day in one location. And that's really it in a nutshell.
So, one of the things that, we talk about on occasion, and I know you shared this story, in times past, but I definitely want it again because one is it's one of those stories that it sticks with you. You
Yes.
remember it. But, I think it was if I remember correctly, it was the one with they had the car, bought the car on the rims and all that stuff. You kind of went through this whole thing of explaining how this person had this car sitting up on these big rims, but I think it was in front of a mobile home or something of that nature. So,
Yes, indeed. We go out and we putting all this money in these cars and we putting money on these rims for depreciating assets. So, you've heard me say it before, I'm not going to pat you on the back if you renting and driving a Range Rover. Or if you riding the Lexus and still got a landlord. No, we got to put these priorities first. Get rid of the landlord before we get the Lexus. Let's stop renting before we get the Range Rover. I'm not knocking any of those brands. I mean, I've driven a Lexus or two, but let's get the ownership first. So we appreciate assets and creating wealth that we could pass on to our children. So it kind of hurts my heart sometimes when I see folks riding in these cars with these souped up rims and pull up to either a mobile home or apartment. I'm not knocking mobile home or apartments. That's not what I'm saying. I'm
mhm,
saying that the prioritization in terms of how you're spending money, because that goes directly against what you can qualify and afford in
mhm,
terms of a home as a homeowner. And that is the biggest asset that most people will have and the biggest opportunity to generate wealth. So with that, let me just go ahead and just drop one thing if I got 2 seconds.
go.
So as an incentive of that, we want to put our money where our mouth is. So we are offering $500 to the first attendees that sign up and actually attend this workshop and then turn around and close on a home within the next 12 months. Now, again, I'm not trying to make it a race, but we got to have some kind of way of identifying, quantifying who those 4 individuals are. And we'll
Mhm,
make sure that we publicize that as it goes down. But that's in part in relation with our relationship with the city of Charleston to be able to provide some incentives to encourage people to, number one, come out and get the information, but actually close on some homes, put it towards earnest money, put it towards down payment assistance.
mhm.
However, but you got to, one, show up and get the information, and two, you got to perform and buy a house. And 3 people get there ahead of you, I can't say nothing. So, I mean, this is not just an open ended, commitment, but we're trying to put our money where our mouth is to make sure that we encourage people to show up. Now, we will, of course, have some raffles and some drawings and whatnot for some smaller giveaways as well. But the key item here is understanding how to buy a house, understanding how to budget, understanding how credit works. You know, Corn, we're going to soon be on the holiday season. And what's going to happen in the holiday season? When folks show up in these stores and they say, you know, open up a store credit card and we're going to give you 10%
Mm-hmm.
off your purchase.
Mm-hmm.
And that sounds good until you see the ding on your credit from the credit inquiry that they made for
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so folks don't understand the correlation. Or, you know, even as they're shopping for vehicles and they're letting 3, 4, 5 different people pull their credit, decide on what you want to get first before you start letting all these folks pull, you know, start dinging your credit for pulling. So, I mean, just different pieces. I mean, I know I'm picking one particular sub issue, and there are a whole lot more of things in terms, especially when we start talking about budgeting and decision. But we want consumer education. We want to provide consumer education.
That's very true. And for our listeners, guys, coming out, there's a project in, FA, you're aware of this that's going on in the West Ashley area as well. But guys, there's $80,000 up to, I'm sorry, not a specific amount, but up to $80,000 of down payment assistance that is available to help you purchase a house. And you need to come out and so you can get this information firsthand for the people that are making it happen. That's huge, and there's a tremendous amount of opportunity that oftentimes a certain community, certain demographic misses because sometimes we believe it too good to be true and we miss the opportunity, but then later are a little irritated, salty, if you want to say, FA, that we didn't take advantage of it and somebody else did. So we want to make sure, guys, that you all are attending, that you're getting the information, that you're in the know about what's going on. And most importantly, if you share this information, if you're looking to purchase, great, come on out. If your friend, family members looking to purchase, bring them with you. And let's make sure that they get the information as well and get the help that they need so that you guys can be homeowners. Homeownership is still one of the most desirable, tasks, feats, what have you, that people do, that they accomplish. Everybody, I say everybody, but majority of people want to be a homeowner.
Amen. And Corwin, I want, even if you're not in the market, grandmama, grab that daughter. She's 30 years old. Get her out to the Cannon Arts Center next Saturday at 12 o'clock so they can get this information. Because that next generation needs to buy the house.
That is very, very, very true. And they need to know also, and they'll learn and pick up outside of that by being in this arena, how to keep it, how to maintain it, how to go forward, because we have to have a different mindset with it. So if you don't mind, FA, sprinkle, because you actually alluded to the location, but if you're listening to this, guys, make this mental note. But FA, these workshops are going to be where at?
The Cannon Street Arts Center, 134 Cannon Street, downtown Charleston.
Beautiful. So guys, please make sure that you register. FA, and where can they register again?
Then go to pastorsinc.org or go to Facebook and go to look for Pastors Inc. and search for it and go, and they can register right off those pages, both for the Homebuyer Workshop in the afternoon. There are links they can register there. They can register right off of the Pastors Inc. webpage. And for some reason you don't see the link, just click on the email icon and it'll pop up and let you just send us an email and you put your information in there and we'll get you registered. So by any means, please, we want folks to come out, and certainly, any of your folks at Exit know and are aware of what we're doing. And so please reach out to them. We want this knowledge. We're working hard to try and get it out there. We want people to benefit from it. So we appreciate you helping us talk about it, but there it is.
It's time for us to do it. So look, if you're catching this show and you're not quote unquote in the Charleston area, make the trip. Y'all need to come, because this is information that can be, and Pastors is not bound quote unquote by Charleston. So
no, we operate statewide now. We operate statewide. So we're Anna Miller is in Orangeburg and she's pushing hard to get the churches there. We're working hard in Greenville as well. Charleston is home. And in this particular case for this Saturday, Mayor Tecklenburg has said he's coming. The city is providing the space because the city is going to have some of their homeownership folks out there too, provide information. So you mentioned this one particular housing project that's coming where they're giving out a fairly substantial amount of down payment assistance. Pinnacle Bank will be there as well. So we're going to have the people in the room. And my big concern is people think my credit, I can't buy a house. I can't afford a house. We are putting people in a house for less than what some people are paying rent for. So, people who did not believe that they could purchase a home were able to. So if it's on the wish list, then if not, guess what? We'll tell you what you need to do so you can. So maybe it's not today, maybe it's in 6 months, maybe it's in 12 months. But come on out to the Cannon Arts Center next week and get this information. You might get a little bit of financial incentive too.
Yeah, look here. There ain't nothing wrong with that. Look here, we can't say how much money out there, but we're gonna say some out there. So y'all need to come on out here and get this money.
Well, I will tell you, my son would quote that song to say, "My money don't jingle, jingle, it folds." We're gonna give it out some fold money, okay? So now, not jingle, jingle money, but fold money. All right. So we're giving out knowledge and some resources, and like you said, we want to overcommit to what, but that's real, okay? So when you heard somebody got a check written, don't look crazy. We told you about it. We talked about it, didn't we?
Look here, I'm about to use that. Look here, my money don't jingle, it fold. Yes, sir. Some of y'all right now in the car, this phone is cutting up, and y'all shaking y'all pocket and the jingle.
We're going to let Jingle get another cup of coffee and get y'all folks ready. So next Saturday, you can have them out there in place, get some coffee, get some food, get some breakfast, and get some knowledge, and possibly some folds.
In FA, I'm going to ask you one question as we kind of get to the end of the day's show. And, people, affordable housing, so I'm going to ask you this question. I don't know if I've ever asked it of you before. Why do you do this?
It's such an urgent need, man. I mean, we generationally, people of color and marginalized communities are falling further and further behind. I mean, our home ownership rates are dropping. I mean, below 50% nationwide in terms of people of color and home ownership rates. We have got to reverse that trend. If we're going to create wealth, that is the only way we're going to do it. And that is a straightforward way. It's attainable. It's not a pie in the sky thing. And let me tell you something. There's nothing like the feeling of seeing somebody walk into a house and feel the sense of accomplishment when they purchase their house. That right there makes it all worth the effort.
That's it right there. For our listeners, guys, you've heard a lot. You've heard directly from Fred F.A. again, Fixed Assets Johnson, the II Esquire, about why you guys should be involved, why you should be at the table. This is an ongoing conversation. This isn't something that just happens, quote unquote, today, or it isn't the thing that we do, quote unquote, while it's popular and in the limelight. It is, we're at this point because, people like FA have been championing this for such a long time and working in this arena for such a long time to make an impact. And it is being felt. There's a ripple effect that's happening in not just Low Country, the Charleston metro, area, but it's also expanding throughout the Southeast. And Fred is very instrumental in that. So FA, again, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today.
We appreciate you. We appreciate you taking up the mantle because the message has to be heard and it just keeps repeating. We got to keep repeating the message. It's like beating a drum until folks hear it.
So for our listeners, guys, please make sure that you go register. Please reach out to our office with any questions. And, this is one of those things, guys, where you encourage your friend or your neighbor to go. You bring your sister, your brother with you. You tell Granny, hey, Granny, I'm going here. That is this event. So please make sure that you guys take the opportunity to register. As we end today's show, I want to give a huge thank you to pastors as an organization for the work that they do in our community, to the CRC, who does an amazing job. We want to give a little shout out here also to Bermuda Point, guys. You need to look that neighborhood up as well, because these are all people, groups that are working in affordable housing space to create opportunities for you. We're here to assist you in all of that. So, guys, we always say to you, go ahead. I'm sorry, FA.
I was just going to say, and all of that couldn't be done without the support of mayor and council with the city to provide those resources to help make this happen. And it's budget season with the city, so we need to keep it in front of them so they keep trying to provide other opportunities for affordable housing. So grab your council member, grab your mayor, tell them, thank you. We heard about it. We know you're doing the work.
Awesome. Look here, y'all heard that. Y'all heard that. So make sure y'all do that. Let them know so they can make sure they put a line item or keep a line item there to help with affordable housing in our arena. in
Amen.
our arena. So it makes a difference in our communities. So FA, again, thank you so much. For our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. As we always say here at Exit Strategies Radio Show, we love you, we love you, we love you. And we're going to see you guys out there in those streets.